Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for tuning back in. Today we're on commercial work, so grab your beer and your peanuts or whatever choice of alcohol it is. Sit down, get comfy, more to come. Right, basically, commercial place, false floor, and we've just got to put a load of extra sockets in. There's tray, I'll show you later on. I've got to get a little bit of a wiggle on here. There's trays, huge, like big foot wide trays underneath the floor everywhere, and they're running the power down on those, and then off the trays they just run Copex to wherever they want a socket underneath the false floor for desks and stuff. It's not going to make a lot of sense because there's some areas of this place you can't see, which is a bit of a shame, but I'm actually surprised they've given me as much recording leeway as they have actually. They're very accommodating, this bunch. And that's how I'm doing it. It's just, we're just doing metal. This is actually, these sockets here are just on 20 amp. It's just on a 20 amp circuit, so I'm just taking a radial off and we just come down. It's just a metal box like that. 20mm Copex, adapter gland, yada yada. So on and so forth. That's it. This place here is cool as fuck. I'm forbidden to say what it is or what the name is. I mean, actually, to give you a gauge, if the camera was to pan to the right, I think it would put me in so much legal shit, I think I'd probably end up bankrupting myself. So I'm trying to be very cautious of what I say here. But this place is seriously cool. It's, I mean, I can show you over there. I can show you the communal areas. But it's really cool. It's just such a chilled out environment here. I mean, we got in here this morning to lift up all the floor and stuff, and there's just like empty beer bottles here and everything. I mean, they've just had, I think last night they just had a big piss up here, like a Friday night sort of after drinks, you know, bit of a laugh. And it's just a very relaxed environment. I think this is what businesses are trying to be like now. I think they're really trying to push this, you know, super chilled, relaxed, we're all free and easy, that sort of environment. And it is really cool. I mean, there's bean bags everywhere, you know. It reminds me of the Twitter building. I went to Twitter last year, and that was exactly the same. Loads of bean bags, really chilled. There was lots of food, drinks, beer. I think they're going for that similar sort of thing. But anyway, that's it. So that's one socket in, and this is how they're doing it. It's just laid down on the floor like that, and that's it. You just switch it off, and they can just plug in their lighting and stuff for whatever their displays are above the false floor. And that's it. Right, at the moment they're running extension leads. So this is one example. So they've got, I don't know, they've got a metal bar. I'm guessing someone damaged the metal front, so they've got a plastic, it doesn't matter. But it's a 20 amp breaker and they're just doing this, and they just tap off if they want another socket over there. But someone's put an extension lead in like that to go over there, and we've just basically, what we've got to do is just ditch that and just put another piece of Copex in, or Armoured or whatever, to go over there to put another socket in, just basically to get rid of these extension leads under the floor. But they've got these great big trays in, and there's nothing on them, except a water pipe. That's actually a water pipe. I'll show you the kitchen in a minute. The guy was like, do you want a drink? I was like, yeah, all right. Well, we've got Coke, Diet Coke, Pepsi, Pepsi Max, Lilt, Fanta. just give me a drink. It's a really cool place. I can imagine places like this actually are probably as enjoyable as it gets. If you're into this particular line of work, I imagine this is probably as fun as it gets. You know, it's a shame actually because it's such an interest. I'd love to show you more of it. There's such cool shit going on here. But I think this is a pretty, if you're into like desk-based work, I think this is as cool as it gets. But yeah, right. Let me throw this bit of Copex in here, and I'll be back in a sec. They want these to come off and put USB sockets on. Those dishwashers, actually, we've got to put, these are tapped off the kitchen ring, and we had this actually in another job in the city. When they turn these both on, and it just trips the 32 amp breaker, and when people plug the kettle in and you have one of these on, it trips. So basically we've got to put a pair of blank plates there, 2 new supplies to a pair of 32 amp rotary isolators here, and then a new set of fuses in here. So this is the intake here. So this is what we've got to tap into for these dishwashers out here. It's a nice setup. All right, anyway, let me get on what I was supposed to do. All right, 2L2, is it that one? No. 2L3? No. 3L1? No. 3L2? That would be that one. Those audible socket testers are well worth it, because like if you haven't got the audible one, and especially if you're working on your own, you've got to switch each one off, go out there, check it's off. Yeah, if you've got the audible one, for stuff like this, it's well worth it. Just before I fit those sockets, you know what I was telling you about having like this cool work environment? When you think about it, it is clever. You've got to doff your cap to the people who come up with these ideas. This is their communal kitchen, right? I mean, even just, you've got 66 types of cereal here, do you know what I mean? You know, you've got a coffee machine, that's every type of Coke, drink, you know, whatever you want, you know, sparkling, everything on tap, you know, every type of cereals, nuts, pistachios. But it's a clever mentality when you think about it, because if you give your employees just all the things they want, production increases. So it's a clever, all right, you pay a little bit, and how much does cereal actually cost? I mean, it's fuck all really in the real world, you know, but you just give it all here, put it all here for the employees, and it just becomes a better work environment, doesn't it? And with that, productivity goes up. So it's like working, it's like a home from home, you know, because this is not a normal work environment. This is really, you know, it's like leaving your house to go to your next house. It's a very clever mentality. And I think this is what businesses are trying to do, make businesses like this just as super homely as possible with everything that you want. It's a clever mentality. Right, apparently there's another socket under this floor somewhere here, and then one under where the camera guy is. There's two for these desks here, which have got to go under this floor now. It's the same as the one I did over there, but same again over here. Right, apparently these tiles are the hardest to get back in once you've lifted them up. So I'm trying to be a bit ginger with how many I lift up.
A few inches later.
It wasn't over that side, I tell a lie. There's one here, that one there. We just got to extend it and put another box next to it with a bush and a coupler. So I can do that, and they want one over somewhere under here, because there's an extension lead under here, which just comes and it plugs in. In fact, yeah, that's the other end of it there. So let's get started. That's the thing, because I was actually just talking to the camera guy off cam. And you don't, that's the thing, if you did this, you can't actually say that, because if you did this every day, you'd just sort of not appreciate it. So in a way, it's kind of a nice balance. You do shit jobs, and then when the good ones do come in, you just appreciate them a bit more when they happen, because otherwise you just start to take it for granted and you just lose appreciation. It's good armoured should, after you've stripped it, using whatever method, hacksaw, or I use one of those armour slice things. This sleeving here, this inner sheath, should just slide off. There should be nice, you should have talc in there, and it's that nice, this should just slide off like butter. Look at this tiny little piece. You think I can pull it off? And it's brittle as fuck. Look at it, just cheap armoured price, isn't it? You know, that should just slide off like butter. It's just garbage, look at it. Such crap. Once it's fitted, I mean, it's fine. It's just for the installer, it's you know, it just takes longer. But once it's fitted, I mean, it's as good as any. But it's just same as anything. It's just cost, I guess, isn't it? But you don't know that when you walk into the wholesaler to buy. You just say, "Oh, can I have, you know, a drum of 4mm armoured?" And they just give you a drum. You don't question it. But I guess every wholesaler goes somewhere different. But that's bad quality. I don't like that at all. I've been here all day on our own. Well, I think there's like this guy here, he's like the manager, he's like the top brass here, I think. I don't even know what time it is. It's like, it's really hot, and it's just gone 3 o'clock, and he's the only guy who's been here. No one else has been here all day. I just walked into the kitchen you saw earlier. I just walked in like with my shit singing Queen or ABBA or whatever it was, and there's like this really cute girl sitting there now. It's like total fail, you know. I'm walking in, nothing seems to matter. And just like really cute girl, just like, fuck are you doing? Crash and burn. Never mind. Let's just sit this end now. All right, anyway, electrical chit chat. A few people were saying in a video, it was actually at Go Bob's the other week, and a few people were saying when you terminate, I mean there were loads of people who I think are just uninformed, but there were loads of people who were like, when you terminate armoured into these boxes, why aren't you using the banjos? In the 12, 13 years I've done this job, and you see like sockets like this, I have never ever seen anybody put a banjo. How do you terminate that? How do you put it can't, you know, it would look like a fucking dog's dinner. It won't work. And I've never ever seen metal back boxes like these with banjos. I have never seen it. Even here, all the ones here, no one's done it. They just use the metal bushes and couplers, join through, but they don't use these banjos, because I can't see how that will just look And plus, if you have that there like that, that bolt is going to stick up. You're not going to be able to get the faceplate on. It'll be a complete fucking dog's dinner. That was the other thing. People were talking, I think anything metallic, people seem to think needs to be earthed. It doesn't. I don't know where people are getting this thing from. The other one was capping, this metal capping. In a previous video, I'll leave a link up to the video in question. I'll leave it up on the screen now somewhere. Somebody was saying that the metal capping, that needs to be earthed. Why does it need to be earthed? I want somebody to please give me how would you even earth capping? If you've got like multiple strips of it, it doesn't even, how the fuck do you earth capping? Because if you have a fly lead going to it and you somehow nut and bolt it, well, that nut and bolt has to be accessible. So what, you're gonna, it's an empty argument. I don't even know what the fuck people are going on about. Get out your fucking mother's basement for a start. Really, just fucking shit like this, I just don't get. Oh, got to earth the capping. You fucking don't have to earth it. And the prices of people new builds. That was the other thing. The cost of the first fixing. Some people are only being paid. You're talking like 200 quid to first fix an entire house. Okay, materials are supplied, but I suddenly fell off my chair when I heard that. I don't even understand how you've got like a 3-bedroom house. How do you first fix it in a day? You've got to have an apprentice, you've got to have cheap labour. And the only way you can do it is just by fucking just boshing in maximum speed with absolutely no thought about it. I don't see how you can do it. I really don't. People seem to quite like the whole tutorial thing, which I was sort of shying away from, but people seem to really, I did one months ago, and people seem to really gel to them. So I'll do another one. So this is episode 2 of Doing It with Tom.
Doing It with Tom.
Step 1, have a drink. Okay, step 2. I use this CK armour slice. So I put that on, tighten it up. These are about 40 quid, these things, and I think they're worth their weight in gold. They're really, really good bits of kit. Tighten it up until you reach the thread. I do 13 rounds. That then goes on. The amount of times I've done this and forgotten that critical step, so this goes on. I was always taught, actually it was a chap called John Sullivan, I don't know where he is now, he was the one who taught me that. When you put that on, that should hold there. If it slides down, you've cut the shroud too large, so you need to put a new one on. But that's why I was taught. So that goes down there. Strip your armoured. Always strip away from you, all right? I did it in the day where I used to strip. Some people find it easier to strip towards you, but I've got numerous cuts on my thumb and I've eventually learned don't do it, so always strip away. Everyone's got their own preference with this as well, because some people like to use like an official electrician's knife. Some people like to use those. I just use a Stanley knife for this, but it really is each to their own. It's down to what the individual prefers really at the end of the day. And then you take your armouring and you just twist it off like that. That's why I like using this cutter, because it gives you a really even, consistent cut. I find if you do it with a hacksaw, sometimes, especially if it's thin cable like 1.5 armoured, sometimes you don't get a nice, the thicker the cable, the easier it is to do this step. It's like if you've got a 25mm 4-core or something, you're supplying a house or something, those are nice. They're actually, although people think they're bigger, they are bigger, but they're actually, in a sense, they're easier to strip. Now you can either use this and do the same thing again to scour the outer sheath. I just use a Stanley knife. I tend to go back about an inch, somewhere around there. I'd say about there is ample. And I like to use a fresh blade every time because it just makes life easier, I think. You just get a nice clean cut, like so. That comes off. And then take your gland. I then do this. I put this on, your outer gland. That goes down there. Then, in fact, what I'll do first, I'll strip this actually. But you just literally just gently scour it all the way around, like so. You just scour it nice and gently, not too deep that you hit the cores. It's just enough you want to scour that so you can peel it off. And what some people do, if it's good armour and you've got talc in it, this will just slide straight off, but sometimes you have to just gently scour it up the middle. All right, once you've done that step, I then splay the armouring out. So the way I do it, again, everyone's different, this is how I do it. So you just grab both of those and twist in the same way that the armouring is twisting. And then that gland goes down and that just sits in there like so. You then take your locking ring, like that. Then take your grips. What I actually want is a dedicated set of spanners for this, and it's one of those things, you go into a wholesaler and you keep meaning to do it and you keep forgetting. I'd actually just like 2 spanners that just are for this. for a sole purpose, because I actually don't like using grips, because I think when you really tighten them up and they slip, and it can, if you know how when you've undone glands before, and 66 people have been on them with these, and it rounds off the edges. So I prefer to use spanners actually, but I just keep forgetting to buy a set. I'm using possibly the largest grips in the world. I mean, you can tighten them up with grips, you just have to take your time. And that's it. That is not coming off, and that shroud just goes on there, but we'll keep that down a second. Goes into your back box. Now at this point, if the anally retentive people wish to put a banjo on, you're more than welcome to, but I can't say I've ever seen one with a banjo fitted, but there you go. And that's it. Terminated Armoured. All right, dishwashers, funny enough, missed most of that installation because I've left Tom here to his own devices just doing this, but those spurs there, those switches on the wall, they'll go. We'll put a pair of blank plates there, and these are the new ones, so these are just going to be the rotary isolators, one for each of these dishwashers. This is what I'm on about with Dave, right? People say I'm hard on him. He's a fucking good little worker when he tries, you know. I've just left him all day. He's just been doing his own little thing here, and it's been an awkward potch of a job here. But he's done a really nice, neat job, you know. All right, I've got to put a bit of fill around there, but it doesn't matter, that's fine. And then in here, he's taken these out the wall here, so he's drilled the holes back here, clipped them all the way down here. Again, all of it is perfectly neat, you know, even down there. And I haven't watched him, he's just sort of got on with this on his own. He's had all this floor up, and he's run the armoured in underneath, these 6mm armoureds. But he's put all the banjos on here for the trunking, you know, and that's those two there. I might be harsh on him sometimes, but it's for his own benefit, because he does, when he applies himself, he really does a neat job, you know. But that's this side. I think under there, I think we're just going to put a pair of whisker boxes, terminate them into the two whisker boxes, I think. I'm not sure yet. I'll cross that bridge tomorrow, because I'm actually packing up now because I've had enough. So give us 5 minutes and we'll touch base in a sec. Another day, 2 more parking tickets. That's the thing though, you wait here, it's 2 hours. So it's like, fuck that, just get a parking ticket, you stay here all day. So that's all we've got time for. We should be back here tomorrow. And until then, I'll see you on another video. Ciao for now.